Hi, my name's Molly, and I'm here to tell you a wee bit about my career. I work from home and I connect with people from all over the world. When I go to the office, I travel from where I live in Edinburgh to Florence in Italy, or I visit customer sites around the world. I help solve big problems in the UK and in other countries, like helping our customers understand solutions to reduce methane pollution. It's about using our technology to make the world a better place in the future. I'm part of Baker Hughes' emissions abatement team, and I'll give you a very brief overview of what we do. When we talk about emissions abatement, I specifically mean reducing methane emissions. Methane is a compound of hydrogen and carbon gas that is found in the natural gas in oil wells. Natural gas is not worth as much money as oil, so it's often sent to a chimney for flaring, as you can see in the picture. Otherwise, it can be allowed to leak away or simply released into the air. I'm not sure if you know that methane is 28 times more potent than carbon dioxide per molecule when it comes to climate change, so it's not great that a huge amount of this gas is lost to the atmosphere every day. Carbon dioxide is also a major problem, which is why Baker Hughes has another team who looks specifically at that. UN estimates that 80 million tonnes of methane released by the fossil fuel industry every year could be avoided using existing technology. That's a lot of wasted methane which could be used as fuel. So we know that reducing methane emissions in the oil and gas industry is one of the most practical and cheapest ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That's why that's what we provide the technology for. My job is all about problem solving and connecting people. I listen to what our customers need. They will have a waste stream of gas. I then work with engineers and business leaders to find smart solutions that convert the gas into electricity or product the customer can sell. You can see here what large-scale flaring looks like. This is a real site in the Middle East, and on the right is the kind of industrial solution we provide to turn gas into electricity. What I love most about my job is knowing that the work I do helps tackle a big problem for the planet, and I get to help us improve how we do that as a team. I haven't always worked for Baker Hughes. When I left school, I was sponsored by the British Army to study mechanical engineering at Newcastle University. I then joined the Army as an engineering officer and worked in places like Germany, Canada, Kenya, Afghanistan, to name a few. I led teams to fix complicated equipment like tanks, weapons, and radios. I've always loved figuring things out, helping people, and making systems work better. Those skills have helped me move into climate technology, where I can make a real difference. To give you an idea of what this looks like, here is a workshop we set up in a farm building. The vehicles are very old and break down a lot, so we were kept very busy repairing them and making sure they were safe to use. Sometimes we didn't have the luxury of a building, but we would still be able to do most repairs, including fixing engines and gearboxes, which you can see here painted in turquoise. Our armoured vehicles have cranes that can lift the big parts out and replace them once they're fixed. It gets a lot more difficult depending on the weather, and on the day the storm hit us, I was glad not to blow away. People need engineering support in all sorts of situations, and as long as I wasn't getting in the way, I enjoyed getting my hands dirty. As I mentioned before, I now do something completely different. Having an engineering degree and lots of different experiences has meant that people want me to be on their team. I've been able to learn about unfamiliar technology and the world of business as I've gone along. When I was 13, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I liked taking things apart, but they didn't always work when I put them back together. I didn't think I was amazing at maths, and I went to school because I had to, and I would do anything to avoid homework. I had ideas about how I could improve the things around me, like I badly sewed some pockets into my favourite skirt, and I tried to have the most efficient morning possible so that I didn't have to get up early. I reflected on what hasn't changed about me since I went to high school. I've always been more of a doer and I lose interest in theoretical discussions. I like to make things happen. I don't always think of myself as an engineer, but I can't help but wonder how things work. This technical understanding and curiosity is really useful in my job. I'm not a dreamer. I don't like a blank piece of paper. I like being able to see a problem and figuring out how to solve it. Whether it's between people or engineering designs or just making a really ambitious plan a reality, I spend as much time thinking as I need to, but then I get on and do it. Lastly, sometimes I would talk myself into trouble at school because I said what I thought. Perhaps I've become a bit better at knowing my audience, but I think that being a clear communicator and a reliable person are a couple of the most important traits that help me in my job. Here's someone who likes asking questions or imagining how things could work better. That's a great place to start. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. What matters is being open to learning and willing to try. STEM is full of people who are still learning, still exploring, and still growing, just like you.